Good morning. I would like to call the Niagara Police Services Board to order for May 25th, 2023. My name is Jen Lawson, and I am the Chair of the Niagara Regional Police Services Board. We begin the meeting this morning by acknowledging that the Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawindarunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of the Niagara Police Services Board stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Now we'll do roll call. Member Kiokio.
Present.
Member Eek.
Present.
Member Yip. Present. Member Kepsavanu. Member McKendrick.
Present.
And we have regrets from Member Steele. Do any board members have any declarations of conflict or pecuniary interest? Seeing none. If I can have Member Eek and Member Yip move that the minutes of the public board meeting held Thursday, April 27th, 2023 be adopted as circulated. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Reports from the board chair. Before we begin today's meeting, I would like to take a moment to remember Staff Sergeant Rome D'Angelo, who died suddenly 1 year ago today. To honor his memory, the flags at all police facilities are flying at half staff. The board recognizes that today is a difficult day for his brother, Staff Sergeant Mark D'Angelo, and his two sons, Noah and Matthew, as well as Rom's many friends and colleagues. I would ask everyone to take time to pause and reflect in memory of Rom. Thank you. On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome David Tilley to the meeting. David is the Inspectorate of Policing at the Ministry of the Solicitor General, and he serves as a policing services advisor to police boards in Ontario. He is attending today's meeting virtually as part of his routine visits by policing services advisors to police boards across the province. The board is pleased to see his continued attendance at our monthly meetings. On May 2nd, this service held an auxiliary graduation ceremony for 14 new auxiliary members to the Niagara Regional Police Service. The ceremony provided an opportunity to welcome Niagara's newest auxiliary members to the service and to meet their families. Vice Chair Eek, Member Kapasavanu, and I attended the event. On May 3rd, the Ontario Association of Police Services Boards held their Zone 4 quarterly meeting hosted by Brant County OPP. These quarterly engagements allow boards within a certain geographic area to meet for the purpose of discussing matters related to police governance. Vice Chair Eek and Member Kapasavanu attended the meeting. The Canadian Institute held its 14th annual Law of Policing Conference on May 3rd and 4th in Toronto. The conference provided critical updates on police reform and legal liability and was attended by police chiefs, in-house counsel, professional standards officers, and various government and civilian associations across the country. Topics included new legislation and precedent-setting case law to determine the highest of police standards. I attended the conference on behalf of the CAPG Board of Directors. On May 4th, the service held a swearing-in ceremony for 5 currently serving officers and 6 new recruits to the Niagara Regional Police Service and 2 new recruits to the Niagara Parks Police. The ceremony provided an opportunity to welcome Niagara's newest police constables to the service and the NPP, and to meet with members of their families. Vice Chair Eek, board members Yip and Kapasavanu, and I attended the event. On May 5th, I attended the Ontario Women in Law Enforcement Annual Awards Gala. Awards recipients were recognized for their tremendous accomplishments in the law enforcement and for their long-standing service with a policing organization. At the ceremony, 3 NRPS members received their 30 and 35-year OWLE service awards. A special presentation was made to Chief Brian McCullough, who received the OWLE President's Award for his support and the International Association of Women in Policing Conference. The NRPS hosted the IAWP conference in September 2022, which welcomed over 800 police and civilian women from countries across the world. On May 9th, the Niagara Regional Police Service, along with the Niagara Police Services Board, the Niagara Regional Police Association, and the Seniors Officer Association hosted the NRPS annual award ceremony. The event recognized outstanding service members and fellow citizens who have demonstrated excellence or made invaluable contributions to the Niagara community, along with the service retirees and longstanding employees for their commitment to the service. Vice Chair Eek, members Yip and Capasavanu, board staff, and I attended the event. The Canadian Association of Police Governance hosts monthly webinars as part of its educational strategy to keep police boards and police executives across the country apprised of issues currently affecting the police community. Board members attended a virtual conference summit on May 4th entitled Ingredients for a Successful Relationship, Board, Chief, and Association. Board members also attended a webinar on May 9th entitled Police Budgets and Governance Authorities. The next webinar is scheduled for June 8th at noon for discussions on workplace harassment and other legal issues that impact police employers. Board members are pre-registered, and for those who cannot attend at the specific date or time, a recording of the session will follow once the webinar is completed. On May 13th, members of the Niagara Regional Police Service participated in the annual tug of war competition against their American law enforcement counterparts. There was a barbecue held before the event, followed by an escorted march led by the NRPS pipe band to the Rainbow Bridge where the competition took place. Both the NRPS women's and men's team were successful in bringing home a win for the service. Vice Chair Eek, members McKendrick, Steele, and I attended the event. On May 15th, the Services Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Unit hosted an asylum seeker awareness session. The event featured guest speaker Emily Kovacs of the Niagara Folks Arts Multicultural Center, who spoke about the arrival and settlement process of asylum seekers in the Niagara region. Vice Chair Eek, members Yip, McKendrick, and board staff attended the event, and members Steele and I joined the live stream. On May 16th, the service unveiled its Heroes in Life Wall of Honor in the NRPS training unit located at the Center for Policing and Community Safety Studies in Welland, which is an exact replica of the one located in the lobby of the police headquarters here. The Wall of Honor is dedicated to 9 officers that lost their lives in the line of duty in the Niagara region. Each fallen officer is honored with a plaque that includes their photograph, biography, and a brief synopsis of the circumstances of their tragic death. This memorial tribute supports the sacrifices made by our fallen officers and reminds us of the risks that police officers accept and the sacrifices they make every day to protect the well-being and safety of our communities. I attended the event along with Chief McCullough and members of the service. The Ontario Association of Police Services Board is hosting its annual spring conference and annual general meeting at the Marriott on the Falls Hotel in Niagara Falls from May 30th to June 1st. This year's conference theme is entitled Collaborating for Community Safety, and the program features a variety of special guest speakers, learning sessions, board training, and networking opportunities. Vice Chair Eek, members Kiokio, Capasavanu, McKendrick, and Steele, Ms. Reed, and I will be attending this important conference. Grimsby Town Council will be hosting a Niagara Regional Police Information Session during its council meeting on June 5th at 5:30 p.m. I will be joining Chief McCullough and Staff Sergeant Chris Lemich, 8th District Commander, who will be providing an overview of Grimsby's current policing trends. There are no committee meetings scheduled next month, and the board meeting next month will be held on the next board meeting will be held on Thursday, June 22nd at 9:30 a.m. in the community room at police headquarters. And that ends my report. Acting Chief Flynn, any reports?
Thank you, Chair. I think it'll be evidenced by both your report and mine that May is a very busy month for both the board and for the service. Thank you for your kind words about Staff Sergeant DeGidio. Rome is dearly missed by his colleagues. With respect to, and I believe Chair, you touched on it as well, the tug of war. It was a great event. I'll just briefly point out that it was a 3-year hiatus since due to COVID that we were actually able to get back out on the bridge for the 55th year of the event. Just add that our team was marched down Clifton Hill to the delight of a lot of visitors to Niagara. Sometimes you talk to them afterwards and they think this is a weekly event in Niagara. It's not. We were led by the Chief's Honor Guard and the Niagara Regional Police Pipe Band. So it was great to have them out on the weekend as well. And a sincere thank you on behalf of our chief to the board for your continued support for our members in this event. Truly an event that promotes great camaraderie, both for the participants as well as with our colleagues from New York State. Some community events that our members were in attendance at during the month of May included the Shabbat Niagara Lag Bomer celebration, a Stop Hate presentation and community engagement event at the Islamic Society of Niagara Peninsula, which Chief McCullough attended as well. A ball hockey game between members of the service and residents of the Fort Albany First Nations who had been displaced for the better part of the last month from their homes and into Niagara as a result of flooding. And then there were 2 basketball games as well between with our members and clients and staff from the Ontario Festival of Culture, Arts and Sports and the Niagara Folk Arts Center. June is Pride Month, and for a 6th consecutive year on Thursday, June 1st, next Thursday at 9 a.m., the service will raise the Pride flag at headquarters in solidarity with the 2S LGBTQIA plus community. This year, in addition to raising the flag at headquarters, we'll be doing so simultaneously at districts across Niagara region. Sworn in civilian members of the service, as well as members of the Chief of Police Community Inclusion Council, will be attending the flag raisings as we continue our commitment to an inclusive workplace while ensuring the safety and security of all of our residents across Niagara. Additionally, throughout the month, sworn members who wish to wear the Pride police placard on their police vests in the front line will be wearing them in frontline patrol to celebrate the month, and Pride pins have also been distributed or will be distributed to our civilian members and members in plain clothes across the organization. Our report on some of the crime statistics in Niagara this past period of April 25th to May 19, there were no homicides and 1 attempted homicide reported during this period since the last board meeting. During this period, however, the service laid a charge of manslaughter in connection to an event that occurred in 2022. And in that event, on December 30th, uniformed members in St. Catharines responded to a report of a 28-year-old male experiencing medical distress as a result of consumption of drugs. He was transported to hospital, but died the following day. The initial investigation started with our detective office in St. Catharines, and carriage was transferred to our opioid enforcement and education unit in February. With the assistance of the Ontario Coroner's Office and the Center of Forensic Sciences, the cause of death was determined to be methamphetamine toxicity, and 2 suspects were identified in relation to the death. On May 18th, the OEEU, with the assistance of detectives from numerous other units, made 2 arrests. A 45-year-old St. Catharines male is charged with 2 counts of trafficking in a controlled substance and manslaughter. And also a 61-year-old St. Catharines male is charged with trafficking in a controlled substance. During the arrest, the officers seized another 25.7 grams of crystal methamphetamine, and both males were held in custody for a bail hearing. On Saturday, May 13th, members in Grimsby responded to a fight in front of a residence. At that location, they located a 41-year-old female suffering from stab wounds. She was treated by paramedics and the Grimsby Fire Department members and transported to a trauma center. She remains in hospital, listed in serious stable condition, and a suspect was taken into custody at that time. 8 district CIB officers have laid a charge against a 70-year-old Beamsville man of attempt murder, and he was held in custody following a bail hearing. On the traffic front, there were 3 fatal motor vehicle collisions, but no life-threatening injuries apart from those deaths during April, bringing a total to 8 fatal collisions this year and 3 life-threatening collisions. All of those incidents remain under investigation, and I'll just briefly let you know about them. On April 1st, officers with attended with St. Catharines Fire and EMS for a collision at Ontario Street and Linwell Road in St. Catharines. And it was found that a pedestrian was walking within the intersection when he was struck by 2 vehicles traveling southbound on Ontario Street, and he was pronounced at the scene. In Niagara on the Lake, also on April 1st, officers responded with Niagara on the Lake Fire and EMS for a collision involving a cyclist and a pedestrian on Queenston Road near D Road, which is up in the Queenston area. It was determined in that incident that an 81-year-old woman from Niagara on the Lake was crossing the road when she was struck by the bicycle. And tragically, despite life-saving measures at the scene, she was pronounced a short while later at the hospital. The 3rd incident was on April 12th in Niagara Falls. And the investigation there determined that a vehicle traveling westbound collided with a motorcycle traveling eastbound that had 2 passengers, or a passenger and a driver. The driver succumbed to his injuries in the hospital, and the passenger remains in hospital in serious condition. Over the past month, local news. On April 2nd, detectives in 2 district street crime, with the assistance of the CIB office, commenced an investigation into the distribution of drugs in the Falls. And on May 2nd, they executed a search warrant at a residence in the area of Carler Road. As a result of that investigation, 2 people were arrested, and a total of 194 grams of fentanyl and 45 grams of crystal methamphetamine were seized, with an estimated street value of about $11,900. In addition, the officers seized a conducted energy weapon, which we know to be a taser, or referred to as a taser, and an amount of Canadian currency believed to be the proceeds of crime. So in that incident, a 38-year-old and 27-year-old male, both of the Falls, were arrested for possession of crystal methamphetamine and possession of proceeds of crime, unauthorized possession of a prohibited weapon, and possession of fentanyl for the purpose of trafficking. Over just this past weekend, we experienced a number of events as well. On Saturday, May 20th, we attended the Penn Center in response to a disturbance involving several youths, and determined that a male victim had been approached by 2 males unknown to him that were teenagers, and that he was stabbed by one of the males in the upper shoulder, resulting in an injury that was not life-threatening. That investigation continues, and I think there's been some public media releases at this point trying to identify the people involved. Also on May 20th, this past Saturday, we attended Shirkston Shores in Port Colborne to investigate a report of a stabbing. In that incident, a physical altercation took place between several males on a basketball court at the resort. And during that altercation, a victim was stabbed twice in the lower abdomen. The involved parties fled prior to police and attendance, and the victim was transported to hospital, where he remained in stable condition. Also this past Saturday, a busy Saturday, we attended an address in Grimsby on Central Avenue to investigate a shots fired report. Investigation revealed that unknown suspects had discharged several rounds at the property. There were no injuries sustained by the occupants, and surveillance footage has linked a white SUV to the incident. That matter is continued to be under investigation by 8 District CIB. And that is the end of my report, Chair.
Thank you, Acting Chief Flynn. Board members, any questions? Seeing none, thank you. There are no presentations today, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. If I can have members Kiokio and members Kapasavanu move that items 8.1 to 8.14, we'll move them in block, that the information be received. Are there any questions? Member Eek.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just would like to speak to several reports that directly address issues that are of concern to our residents, such as crisis negotiations, report 8.8, domestic family violence, report 8.9, and elder vulnerable adult abuse, report 8.10. All of these reports outline the necessary training and procedures that are in compliance with police service bylaws. I raise these comments to inform and highlight to our citizens the policing actions that support and address their concerns and issues. I hope that many of our residents and citizens will read these reports to understand and educate themselves of the roles that policing performs to keep them safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Move on to 9.1, new business, Niagara College Comprehensive Policing Program Protocol. If I can have members McKendrick and members Eek move that the board approve the protocol between Niagara College of Applied Arts and Technology and the Niagara Regional Police Service as appended to the report, and further that the board authorize the Chief of Police and the Deputy Chief of Police to execute all required agreements and related documents on behalf of the board. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.2, Police Services Board Procedural Bylaw Revision. If I can have members Yip and members Kapasavanu move that the board's procedural bylaw number 391/2021 be repealed and be replaced with the bylaw number 400/2023 as appended to this report. And further that the board chair and the executive director be authorized to execute the required documentation. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.3, purchase award, Extreme Network Switches. Can I have members Kiokio and Vice Chair Eek move that the board award the purchase contract for Extreme Network Switches to TELUS Communications, Inc. at a cost of $432,416.72 Canadian, including HST, net of rebates, as per the attached TELUS Communication 2023 T63 bid document. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. 9.4 to 9.6, special fund requests. Before we consider this request, I would like to remind the members of the public that the special fund does not form part of the police operating budget and is separate from the regional tax base. The special fund is a discretionary pool of funds which is used for grants and donations. Disbursements from the fund are made in accordance with the guidelines provided in the Police Services Act and with the board's bylaw 376/2018 Special Fund Administration, Limitations and Guidelines. 9.4, Special Fund Request 2023 Motorcycle Ride for Dad. If I can have members McKendrick and members Yip move that the board approve a donation in the amount of $2,000 from the special fund as a contribution to the 2023 Motorcycle Ride for Dad campaign. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.5, special fund request for the Niagara Unit Boards. If I can have members Kapasavanu and members Kiokio move that the board approve a donation in the amount of $841.18 from the special fund for the purchase of 2 tables at the 10th Annual Niagara Unity Awards Gala. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. 9.6, special fund request, emergency task unit, half marathon. If I can have members Yip and Vice Chair Eek move that the board approve a donation in the amount of $841.18 from the special fund for the purchase of 2 tables at the 10th Annual Niagara Unity Awards Gala. I think I'm out of order here. One moment. We're going to backtrack and we'll do that again. 9.6, special fund request for the emergency task unit. Still couldn't get that right. Half marathon. If I can have members, Yip and Vice Chair Eek move that the board approve a donation in the amount of $1,000 from the special fund to sponsor participation of the NRPS members in the emergency task unit half marathon in support of McMaster Children's Hospital Foundation. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Board members, do you have any other new business? Seeing none, Acting Chief.
No, Chair.
Thank you. We'll move to in-camera reports. We're going to move items 11.1 to 11.3 in block. And if I can have Vice Chair Eek and Member Kiokio move that in accordance with board direction that the above noted in-camera reports be received as public information. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. And that concludes our meeting. So the Police Services Board will adjourn the public portion of the meeting and reconvene in camera for consideration of confidential matters pursuant to Section 35